morning. We are in session 34 now. Earlier, we showed you a sample set of sentences of all kinds for parsing, okay, or analysis. So, today we will show you a few simple sentences only, which will be actually quite straightforward in parsing, okay, and that is the point from where your parsing exercises will start. So, a few simple sentences, and just like the earlier sample sentences, these simple sentences as well as the other sentences that we take up in the coming sessions, all of these are selected from the same story, okay, the resident patient. So, this is one very small sentence. It does seem a very preposterous way of settling a dispute. Okay. So, this is the subject, obvious, this is the verb, does seem, then does seem what? A way. What kind of way? There are some adjectives, preposterous way and very preposterous way. So, very is the adverb qualifying preposterous, which actually qualifies way, and from this phrase we have another adjective qualifying way of settling a dispute, way of settling a dispute. Okay. So, this is very simple. So, the skeleton of the sentence is it does seem a way, other things are qualifying things here and there. Okay. So, this is quite straightforward. Let us go ahead. Okay. This is long. He loved to lie in the very center of 5 million people with his filaments stretching out and running through them, responsive to every little rumor or suspicion of unsolved crime. It is quite long, yet it is actually a simple sentence. What is the skeleton of the sentence? He loved to lie, right? He loved to lie. He loved what? To lie. Okay. So, this is the object. In fact, this whole thing is in a way the object. Okay. This to lie is the construct technically known as the infinitive, which is in the form to plus verb. Okay. And in such situations where something having the force of a noun comes, which is originally derived from a verb either in this structure or in the fifth form structure, then it is basically derived from a verb, and therefore, just like a verb, it can take its own object or it can get associated with phrases in the adverbial sense. Okay. So, here the verb lie, which is giving rise to this to plus lie construct, this infinitive. Okay. So, that verb lie is associated with this phrase, which is operating as an adverb, lie where? In the very center of 5 millions of people. This is an adjective qualifying this center, and this phrase operating like an adverb is qualifying lie. That word lie itself connecting with to is giving rise to this structure, which is the object and having the force of a noun. Another such adverb in the similar sense qualifying lie is how, with his filaments, and filaments is qualified by two adjectives in fifth form, okay, verb plus fifth form of verb. So, stretching out and running. Running is further qualified with this little phrase through them, okay. And a third adverb to lie is coming from here in the answer to the same question how, responsive, okay. And responsive, this word is getting qualified with this whole thing, Okay. So, this is qualified by this phrase in an adverbial sense. To every rumor or suspicion, rumor of unsolved crime or suspicion of unsolved crime. Okay. So, this phrase is qualifying both of these together. Okay. So, this or is used as the alternative kind of connector between these two nouns, rumor or suspicion. Okay. So, the original sentence, the skeleton of the sentence is he loved to lie, and no other verb is coming which is being used in the sense, even this is not used in the sense of a verb properly. So, to lie is like a noun. Stretching out, fifth form, similarly this. Okay. So, unsolved is the third form, and which is playing the role of an adjective to crime. Okay. So, these are infinite verbs, of course. Now, another example. At 7:30 next morning, in the first glimmer of daylight, I found him standing by my bedside in his dressing gown. What is the skeleton of this sentence?
I found him.
I found him standing. Okay. So, I found him standing. Okay. Found. That is the verb of the sentence. Okay. When? At 7:30 next morning. Okay. And where or in what situation? In the first glimmer of daylight. Okay. Found. Whom? That is object, him. Now, I found him standing. How did I find him? I found him standing. Okay. This standing. Standing how? And standing is being qualified by again where and how. Okay. By my bedside in his dressing gown. Okay. So, this is the skeleton of the sentence, I found him. Okay. And everything else is coming through connection. No other verb in the proper role of a verb as finite verb. Why should anyone murder a man in so clumsy a fashion as by hanging him? So, should murder is the verb. Okay. And why, of course, you know the WH word putting the question. Anyone is the subject. Okay. So, anyone should murder, verb, subject and verb are there, and object, a man. Okay. Murder. Murder is the verb, should murder. Okay. So, how? In so clumsy a fashion. So clumsy. How clumsy? As by hanging him. Okay. So, this is the skeleton of the sentence. Okay. Coming to the last example in this. Suddenly, however, an unexpected incident opened up quite a new prospect to me. Suddenly, however, nothing of great use. Okay. Now, things start. Subject. An unexpected incident. Incident is the main subject word, and this is adjective qualifying it. Okay. So, this whole thing together can be called the subject. Okay. Verb, opened up. Okay. How? Suddenly, adverb. Okay. To me. This again could be interpreted as the indirect object, but it can be interpreted as an adverb also. Okay. Opened up what? Prospect. What kind of prospect? A new prospect. And how new? Quite new. Okay. So, this adverb qualifies this adjective, which qualifies this noun, which is the object. Okay. So, the main skeleton of the sentence is an incident opened up. Okay. So, these are very simple examples, because as has been said, that these are simple sentences, okay, not too much of connections. Okay. Now, you would say that this is very fine for you people to spend quite a bit of time and making such nice graphical presentations of parsing, and then you are asking us to do that in the assignment, because in the assignment I am asking you to make I am asking you to parse 10 simple sentences out of the 25 that you have reported in your collection in an earlier assignment. Okay. Out of those 25, now I am asking you to select 10 and parse them completely. Okay. Now, if my intention was to ask you to parse 10 only, why did I ask you to collect 25? Because sometimes it may happen that after picking up a sentence to analyze, you find something very funny in that, and you may feel like not doing it. Okay. So, let us have enough margin. So, 15 of those sentences I am allowing to be like that, unsuitable, troublesome. Okay. So, but do not take the 10 simplest cases, take 10 good sentences. Okay. And I told you earlier that none of your sentences collected should be below 10-15 words in length. Okay. Otherwise, there will be no fun. Okay. So, take 10 sentences, of course, technically simple sentences, okay, and parse them. Okay. Now, you will say that such a graphical thing, I do not have so much time to do that, which is something very sensible, and I agree with you, and you should not waste your time. We also would not waste our time, but we did it because we wanted a proper display, because we wanted the thing to come here. Okay. Right now, you do not need that. So, you can do a complete text based parsing, which is academically, technically as good as what we are showing you. See an example, this first sentence. In the year 1878, I took my degree of Doctor of Medicine of the University of London and proceeded to Netley to go through the course prescribed for surgeons in the army. Now, this is the parsing of that done only through text, no arrows, no boxes. Okay. The skeleton of the sentence is here. I took my degree and I proceeded. Okay. So, took, when? Qualified by in the year 1878. You see, everything is written here. I is the subject, took is the verb, my degree is the object. Here I, same subject implied. In the second part, it is I is not mentioned, I is implied. So, I subject implied, proceeded is the verb, that is the skeleton. Okay. In the year 1878 is the phrase adverb qualifying took. Okay. Degree, object. Okay. It is taking two adjectives. One is of Doctor of Medicine, it is a phrase, adjective qualifying degree. The other is of the University of London, phrase, adjective qualifying degree. Proceeded, this is the verb in the second clause, this is a compound sentence, obvious. Okay. Proceeded, where? To Netley, which is a phrase, adverb qualifying proceeded. Okay. Why? To go through something something, okay, which is phrase. In fact, this whole thing is phrase that way, phrase, adverb qualifying proceeded. I do not have arrow, so I am writing these things. Okay. To go through the course. So, the course is object to the verb go through, referring to go through. Which course? Prescribed. Third form of a verb, adjective qualifying course. For surgeons, prescribed, for surgeons. So, this is an adjective, this for surgeons is a phrase, adverb qualifying prescribed. So, in the army finally, Which surgeons? Those surgeons who are in the army. That is phrase, adjective qualifying surgeons. So, this can be done by anybody without spending too much of time in making boxes and arrows. Okay. And academically, technically, this is good enough. Okay. Even these spacings and other things can be omitted, and you could write everything, but then you will have to write a lot of things. You can save your writing by these spacings, and you can save some more writing by putting those arrows and boxes. If you do not want, you do not need to do that. Okay. So, we continue, and today we have something else. Games are a great contributor to learning anything. Okay. And word games are particularly very useful in learning words of a language. So, today we will show you a game, and first let me quickly tell you the rules of the game. Okay. And make note that a game qualifies as a good game if its rules are sufficiently simple and sufficiently complicated. It has to be sufficiently simple so that people can get interest in it and play it, and it has to be sufficiently complicated for the same reason, because if most of the people very quickly figure out that the entire logic of the game is obvious, and who wins and who loses, that is obvious from the very beginning, like tic-tac-toe, then beyond a point it does not remain as a game. It becomes a mathematical result. Okay. So, this game is played between two people around 5-letter words with no letter repeating. All the words will be of that kind. Each party keeps a secret word for the other to guess. First player guesses a word, second has to tell the number of letters common between the secret word and guessed one. Okay. Next, it is the turn of the second player to guess a word, and the first player now has to respond with the number of common letters. Obviously, the player guessing opponent's secret word first wins the game. Okay. At any point, if a player suspects that his opponent by mistake or by design has given him a wrong clue, then he can challenge. Okay. And if he has really done that mistake, this is a foul. Okay. And if the challenge sustains, the challenger wins, else he loses. Okay. What kind of words are allowed as the secret word or as the guessed words? Of course, all these words are allowed. Brown, likes, quotes, lived, given, Hindu, Dutch, slang. Okay. All these words are allowed. Of course, these words have no repeating letter, that is one thing, and likes is allowed. The third form, second form, fifth form, fourth form of a verb is allowed. Plural of a noun with s is allowed. Okay. Dutch is allowed, slang is allowed. Okay. Examples of words not allowed. Casto is not a dictionary word, and therefore it is not allowed. Okay. Digit is a word with a repeating letter, so it is not allowed. This is a name which does not have a meaning, okay, at least not in English. Okay. So, it is not allowed. Schol. Schol many people use as the short form of scholarship, okay, and that is not allowed. A slang word is not allowed. The word slang is allowed. Okay, that is a 5-letter word with no repeating letter, but a slang word is not allowed. Since many of you will be teaching this game to your children, it is a good idea to keep this rule. Okay. Players can make any amount of notes. Now, in between your opponent guesses Casto, and you suspect rightly that this word is not there. Okay. But give him benefit of doubt, maybe he thinks that that word is there. So, you challenge him not in that challenge of, not in the sense of this challenge, but you tell I do not think that is a word. Suppose he insists that it is a word, okay. Or suppose your opponent guesses a word filth, okay, and you think that word is not there, in this case wrongly. Okay. So, you will ask, hey, that is a word? No, I do not think so. So, your opponent will be honor bound to convince you that yes, it is indeed a word, and this is the meaning of the word. In case of dispute, you can leave a dictionary with the referee, okay, or you can refer to a dictionary, but that is a bad idea. Okay. So, we never needed to consult a dictionary. Okay. So, the opponent is honor bound to convince you that yes, this word exists and this is such and such is the meaning of it. And if it turns out that that player cannot convince even with a dictionary or within with the help of referee that that word exists, then he simply loses that chance. This rule we did not have earlier, okay, but I am suggesting that rule in order to stop many fights between your children whom you are likely to teach it. Okay. So, these are the rules, very few rules, very simple rules, and in order to show you how simple and how interesting is the game, we will play it here in camera, and you can see whether this game seems interesting to you. Okay. So, in order to make sense to you, I have written so much. Otherwise, normally we just pick up a piece of paper like this and then jot down, and on one A4 sheet we can actually finish 9 to 10 games. Okay. That is his notes. Okay. You have kept a word for me? Okay, I also have kept a word for you. So, you make the first guess. Hymns. 1. Table. Table. Equal. 3. Cable. Bleak. 2. Month. 3. Okay. Spurt. SPURT. No, it's invalid. Two. Sport. Mhm. Invalid. CLOAK. CLOAK. 2. Mouth. Mouth. 2. Leans. 3. Now it is my chance? Oh, sure. Mouth 2, month 1. So any quote, Quote. Quote, you said 1. Uncle is the word. You have 1. Yeah, that's the word. Uncle is the word. And where did I go wrong? Okay, write it. But then how can you say that month has only 1? Month you said 2? Oh, I noted as 1. So you take the first chance or I take the first chance? Okay, this time I guess first. Uncle. Two. Clean. Creak. 1. Laugh. हाँ अंकल में 2 है. There are 2 common in uncle. Staeak. 0. Month. Bathe. Bathe. 1. Gleam. Gleam. Why are you writing? Okay, you are going to guess that. That is your guess? Gleam is his guess also. Zero. Punch. Couth. 2. Munch. 1. Mouth. 1. Okay. Rhyme. Only one. South. 1. Nomad. 1. Edu. So edu is the word. What is the word, sir? Pinch. Just check whether I have given anything wrong. No, no, it should be checked. Okay, 1-1. Is it a good game? Okay, so we stop here, and if we can manage the time, then I retain the intention of teaching you one more game before the course is over. Okay? So thank you. We meet again tomorrow with session 35.